Time to put a big bow on the year 2025. Our last real Kyper and Bourne show of this calendar year coming right up. It's the Leaf Hour edition. We are live on Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet 590, The Fan in Toronto, and streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Also available at your convenience. Maybe tomorrow when you're all hungover, lying in bed till like almost noon. That's when you download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
There are I shouldn't say very few, but there are a certain number of days per year where being a sober guy is like such a treat. And New Year's Day is one of them where you hear people suffering and just go, cool, awesome, doing great.
You can speak to that better than anybody, my friend. A terrific show, post-Olympic announcement show.
Yeah.
Of course, we got the Leaf Hour edition. We'll talk a lot about their 4-0 win last night, led by Joseph Wall with his 33-save shutout. But in the meantime, Craig Simpson, in about 30 minutes, will join us. Doug Armstrong, general manager of your team Canada, with
cool.
that official announcement, will join us at the top of the hour. And then we're followed up quickly with two-time gold medalist Chris Pronger. How about that?
There you go. Olympic theme today.
But that still pales in comparison to having Cristian Ceniti join us.
Is that right?
For an encore performance.
It's the finale.
Because our Sammy is still on a mandatory leave until Friday, I believe. Then we'll let him back on the show.
I think so. Forced leave.
Cristian, welcome aboard, my friend, once again.
Thank you.
Up with Andrew Adams and Jen Rolnick. So here we go. Toronto Maple Leafs last night, a game that Justin and I were on the panel along with Carolyn Cameron and Elliot Friedman. We weren't sure what we were expecting with the likes of superstar Austin Matthews and Willie Nylander on the sidelines. We figured if they could just keep it close, avoid that track meet through the neutral zone, they should be fine. But they were more than just fine last night, JB.
Yeah. I mean, a really bizarre game. It started in a way that we were like, uh-oh, right? There's a couple of turnovers, not getting out of the zone. And then after about 5-6 minutes, they settled in. Bobby McMahon really kind of put them on their back, the team on his back momentum-wise, had a couple of great shifts. Robertson was great. And all of a sudden, you saw this sort of cohesive team unit where everyone was on the right side of the puck. They were making simple plays and got a couple power plays where they moved it around nice. And after 20 minutes and 25 and 30, we looked at each other and kind of like, they look really good. And that was a bit of a shocker last night.
Cristian, you saw the same thing?
Yeah, of course. No, I'm just surprised. Score aside, if I told you it was 4-0, that isn't how you would have drew it up. You would have said maybe it was like they get in a shell, they protect the house, and it doesn't look more like you guys are saying the track meet in the Devils style. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And then you guys have done a ton of like Team A, Team B talk over the years. And that's about as congruent a unit I've seen. And obviously they were missing two Team A guys, but that's my main takeaway.
No, but that's funny because that's a lot of people's takeaway. It's like, boy, why is it that when the superstars aren't there, it looks like that?
We'll get into that. In the meantime, let's go to Craig Berube to get his takeaways from a 4-0 win last night for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, I think, just everybody contributing and like everybody was doing their job. Goaltender was really good and just all around pretty solid hockey by everybody. That's that's the one thing I take from it. Everybody was bought in.
I'm not going to sit here and suggest that they're a better team without Nylander and Matthews, but there is a sense, and it may even bleed into social media, and maybe, Cristian, you could add a little bit more to this, but there are some people out there that are they like the thought of going past just what they've been accustomed to, where 2-3 guys are the complete face of the A team, and we've noted this multiple years now, but that was all B team last night, and people didn't mind the feel of a team without those guys.
Right. Yeah, they didn't. They didn't last night for sure. It helps. New Jersey wasn't very good last night. That helps. Kip, you know how it is. If you try to put a team like that together for 82 games without 34 and 88, they do way worse. You have to, right? They do way worse.
Way worse, in your opinion, right now means just ultimately losing, right? That's the worst. You'll lose a lot of games.
Yes.
But if you're in a position to lose more games, but you see a better effort, a better cohesiveness to your description, Christian, there's a part of, I think, a Leaf fan base that are like, I'd rather lose a ton of games with that feel than sometimes what I've witnessed with these superstars in the lineup.
Yeah, your job and my job today is to save those people from themselves. Save those people who have those thoughts of like, hey, what if we had less good players? Would that be better? It's like, no. Watch the best teams in the league.
But would it make the 20 guys that you're watching, no matter where their skill level is, would it make them feel more of a team?
Sure it would. Yeah. You could watch the Columbus Blue Jackets for the past 20 years team their way out of the playoffs and look really all Team B. We're all on the same team.
I'm not suggesting that you get rid of skill so you can have a team full of we tried really hard kind of guys. But I think it was a little refreshing last night to watch 20 guys with limited skill come together better than at any point during this season.
And my fight on this is that you don't take away from the Team A guys and say, it's because Team A is not there. You hold up the Team B guys and say, those guys brought it. They elevated their game. If Nick Robertson could do what he did last night 82 times, he wouldn't be Nick Robertson. He'd be Jason Robertson. So there's a reason this is like, they can't do it all the time. They got that awesome effort. It was amazing.
But I honestly believe that Nick was able to kind of go a little bit because there was more oxygen in the room because it wasn't sucked up by Willie or Austin.
He definitely could be somewhere between Nick and Jason if he got that kind of ice time. That we've seen him play top 6 minutes. He does well.
What's interesting is I've cut like 3 Nick Robertson clips over the week here, and I want to say 2 out of 3 times at least, he mentions ice time himself.
Yeah.
He talks about the oxygen. Someone asked him about his playing stronger on the puck. And he said, no, it just comes with ice time. So I think you're right.
It is truly the drum he beats when he gets asked. Pre-game, he's asked, whether I get 10, 12 minutes, I just give it what I got.
And last night on the air, I said it. Nobody, ever since I've watched the Leafs since I was 7, I've never seen a guy's career like over, done,
traded,
cooked,
waved,
like
cut,
grilled marks
fired,
all over his ass, done, and then dust himself off and come right back. It's unbelievable how many, and I give him full credit. He could have easily quit on this team a long time ago. Yeah. And yet he just waits quietly for another opportunity. 4th line, 3rd line, 1st line, healthy scratch. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. And yet now he's put himself in a position where not only are Craig Berube and Brad Treliving noticing, there's 30 other teams. There's 31 other teams going, okay, maybe we should have just tried to push a little harder and got him a little earlier, because I think his stock's gone up and so has the price, if in fact you still are considering moving him.
I honestly love to hear that, because we'll get into the injury stuff that we've heard of, but they're going to have a tough January in terms of missing players. So if Nick Robertson and Bobby McMann, who've been themes since the weekend, keep propelling their value, I don't see a world where they are fully healthy and we're getting the most out of those guys. So I can see a world where we're trying to make the most of these guys' value at the end of January.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible. It's funny, though, for Nick Robertson, talk about ice time and opportunity. He is 6th in scoring among the Leafs forwards. So it's the 4 guys you think: Nylander, Tavares, Nyes, Matthews. Bobby McMann has 20 points and Robertson has 19. You know, he's 2 points ahead of Max Domi now. And how many more minutes and opportunity has Max Domi had than Robertson this year? You know, it's like Robertson is trying his hardest in these interviews not to be like, has anyone else noticed if I get to play with these guys, I do stuff? So good for him for proving a point.
It seems like a million years ago, but this guy was a top scorer in the CHL and at times looked upon as an untouchable in terms of a Leaf prospect. Yeah. I uttered the words, trade Nick Robertson for Sam Bennett before he went to Florida, and people bit my head off. Not a chance.
Really?
Not a chance. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, you know, he's going to end up scoring 40 goals one day in this season, but he's made a lot of people believers and around the league as well that under the right circumstances with the right ice time and a couple more looks on a power play that this guy could be legit 25 goals.
He should play the bumper spot on the power play. Like he can hit a one-timer, he can catch and release it. He can just somewhere where he can use the thing he does best, which is his shot. So yeah, he was part of the story last night for sure. But I don't know that you could point to a guy. There's not a guy's game last night that I didn't like. I thought that top to bottom that you got a much better effort.
Did we play Berube yet on Robertson?
Not on Robertson, no.
Okay, let's go to head coach Craig Berube's thoughts on Robertson's recent play, clip 5.
Yeah, Nicky's played well for, you know, Nicky's played pretty well all year, in my opinion. Like, not much more than he always does. He skates and he works, but he's more confident as a player right now for me. And you know, he's ended up scoring, making some plays and things like that. So it's great to see from him because, you know, the work's always there. He always works and skates well. But he's just, to me, he's more confident with his puck play.
You know, he is 24 years old now. Like, you could get a good 4 years out of him here where he gets you 20 goals and 40 points, you know, which is not nothing.
Yeah, I think if the Leafs are going to go with Nick long-term in the wheelhouse of 3 or 4 years or a team trades for him, it's got to come with the opportunity that I think you could play top 6. I'm going to try you as a top 6.
Right. Yeah, there's a ceiling above that. If he had a good fit on a team that really liked him in the top 6, he could definitely do more than that. So that's a real bright spot, but it's the hanging on to the puck with him that I like best in the O-zone and finding more possession time.
You want to go McMahon? You want to go Joseph Wall?
Well, I am curious to hear Berube on whether the team has turned a corner. Can we do that one?
Yes,
all right, clip
absolutely.
2, please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I think we're playing a lot better, and the puck play's been better, and there's a lot of things that are better. Tonight's special teams, I think, was the difference in the game. But yeah, the team's got confidence. They're starting to, you know, understand how we need to do things, and everybody's buying into it. That's the biggest thing.
So I found him on that clip catching himself.
Totally.
Okay.
It's like, what are you talking about?
He was grinning right there.
This is when he looks at the media guy and just thinks to himself, "Don't do this to me, okay, buddy? Don't do this to me, because if I say if I say they haven't turned a corner, that's not good for my players." And if I say that they've turned a corner, that's not good for me either.
You're making me lie to you.
Right? So just take a chill pill. We beat what I've seen so far as the worst team in the National Hockey League last night. Whoa. I don't know. Whoa. I don't know where New Jersey ends up in the standings. Last night, I have not seen this season a worse team than whatever they brought to the table. So there has to be that element. And you brought this up. I didn't. They were horrible last night with no effort. And we'll get into Sheldon Keefe's comments about his captain having to fight Matthew Nyes for sure. But they needed paddles last night. And that's why Hischier did what he needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. But you're right on.
To this point, it's like we still got to play better teams to really truly know where we're at.
Well, I think for Craig Berube, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't have our stars in, so we can't even assess what we are until we have our group in. So we're doing our best. We cobbled it together. We got a great effort. I don't know that it's indicative of, when we have our guys, all these guys are playing different roles and in different spots. So, you ham and egged it last night, and it was awesome. Great effort, great success. You did everything you could to get 2 points, but I don't think we learned anything about what the lines are, what the power play units are, what they're going to be when they're in a playoff series. So no, I don't think there's even the opportunity to answer the question whether the team has turned a corner or not. However, nice to see them score power play goals.
So really, there was a sense that they didn't get off to the best start. They weren't clean coming out of their own zone, but then they get a gift power play. And it just seemed to turn the whole momentum around. It gave them some confidence, and they started going.
Yeah. Was that the Robertson one where he got slashed? And things kind of turned around.
I think it was, and it just the Leafs didn't have anything going. New Jersey had a bit of a push, and then they give up that power play opportunity, and then it just seemed to turn.
To your point about New Jersey, and we'll beat them up a little bit. They were bad last night. Their penalty kill is last in the league going back to November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sure Mark Savard is sitting at home going like, come on. The last 3 power or penalty kills they've played have been dogs. And that's great. They've taken advantage of some weak penalty killing, but it worked to their advantage last night. They got the puck to the middle. I would say physically, and we'll talk about Sheldon in 1 second, that's where this was all different. The Leafs got pucks to the middle of the ice, the dangerous areas, and were allowed to stand there and whack away. At the Leafs end, when they got an opportunity, no one on New Jersey even tried to get to the inside. They just kind of stayed on the perimeter, and so it's kind of that high danger opportunity difference between the two teams.
Christian, what do you see on the power play between what wasn't working and what is right now?
Well, I know, like you're saying, the Devils are definitely one of the worst teams, especially like relative to expectations coming into the season.
Yeah.
But you guys were talking about it, I think, in the intermission about it in the NHL. It's more than just simplifying on the power play, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're at least narrowing the scope, though, of the options for them on the power play. It feels like they're funneling more to the middle because that bumper slot, like regardless of against New Jersey or over the past week, that has been open for them, and they've taken advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that Savard just wasn't preaching that, or if those opportunities just didn't exist. Like, what do you see there? Because they've consistently gone to that bumper spot, and it's worked the entire week.
It's a great point. Like, and we just saw them moving the puck around in general. So I think when you pass the puck, and this is part of the thing I said last night, it makes the D change shape and opens up seams, and they're doing a better job finding it. But also, for a long time with the top power play unit, they wanted to put all their superstars on there. So you had Tavares and Nyes and Matthews, shooter. Willie, he is a shooter first. They didn't have any dishers. And now you've got a lot of touches from Michelli, more from Domi, a little bit more puck movement. I think that helps.
All right, you got our thoughts on the power play. Let's get Craig Berube's thoughts on why it started clicking. Clip 3, please.
I think it's, when I watch it and I'm looking at it, it's just more direct and crisper. Like the passes are better, and they're not looking for a different option. It's make that play. Pucks are going to the net. We're recovering them, resetting them again. That's the biggest difference I see right now on the power play. And then the goals, they're around the net. It's where you score goals.
Sure enough.
I guess when it was the last time Brad Treliving went public, he said it's costing us, right? It's just costing us points, I think was what he was referring to. And it's like, you can see it now. You could really see how much it hurt them the first 30 games.
Well, think about it. They were dead last at like 13%. If you're 20%, if you score a goal every other game or every third game or whatever extra along the way, you probably come up with another 4 or 5 points. And in the standings, that's all the difference. Right now, the Leafs have 42 points, 1 point out of the basement, which is Ottawa has 41, and they're 5 points out of third spot in the Atlantic. So it's a few points would go a long way right now.
A long way.
Yeah.
All right. Matthew Nyes, Nico Hischier.
Yeah.
What is? I don't know. I can't remember now. This is my 6 concussions kicking in. Was that was late in the third period, mid third period?
I would say
When?
there's 11 or 12 minutes left in the third period.
Okay, because the clip, there's a reference to this, Christian, where you say on the clip, asking Berube about the fight and the impact it had on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the game kind of, was 2-0 over?
Game was 2-0. Yeah, was
Yeah,
there 12 minutes
Was there
left?
an impact on it before we listen to
Sorry,
Craig
there's
Berube?
14 minutes left in the game when they fought.
All right. Okay.
And it's
Fair
2-0.
enough. Fair enough. And that's the reference then. Okay. I thought it was a little later in the period, but still undecided at that point.
To me, I heard multiple people be like, I don't know about the timing of that fight. It's like, that is, if for New Jersey, the perfect time to me to say, hey, let's go. We still have clock.
Let's get Craig Berube's thoughts, and then we'll dive in deeper to it.
I thought it was a huge impact. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what started. I didn't ask him, but, took off a good player, for 5 minutes. But he's a good player himself. But that's just what the things he's capable of doing. He's a big guy that can handle himself, physical. So I thought guys really fed off it. I thought we were really physical after that fight.
It's funny.
Okay.
Hishier's a big guy, too. He's 6'1", 195. Not big, but.
It's bigger than I would have guessed.
Okay. You let's play the Leaf side first with Matthew Nyes. Okay. This is, to me, like the one thing that's held him back is that if he had a shorter fuse, I think he would completely go to another level. And we've seen it now on a couple occasions, albeit we had got to go last year to Vegas with his fight. And then last night, it's like, okay, Nico, I get it. You're the captain or you're one of the best players, but shut your mouth, right? I've had enough of you, and if we're going to go, let's go.
Right.
And it's like, boom, right? There's no thinking it out. There's no, the wheels are turning and then nothing happens after that. It's like, no, that's the game. You got a split second to make a decision. And thank you, Matthew Nyes. Thank you, because this team has been screaming for something like this for a long, long time. It's like you're not only talking to Nico, Matthew, you're talking to the rest of the league.
The rest of the league is watching the highlight pack and going,
you want to go mouth off?
I don't want that.
Maybe to somebody else, but not me.
Yeah.
Okay? Boom, left, down, over.
Yeah.
It was quick.
The guy's a mule.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday, right, in the back half of the Leafs hour about being reactive or passive, right? Like, not only did he initiate, but he could have left it at the beginning there where they talk.
Yeah.
He escalated, right? He took it to another level. I think he sure did catch him by surprise, right? Like, he didn't get his gloves off in time.
Is nice.
2 or 3 times you can see him mouth the words, let's go.
But that can be his trump card on anyone talking to him, pushing him, whatever, where he can go, okay, then let's fight, and people will be really quiet if they know that that's the button he's willing to push.
And he's a lefty.
That lefty thing. You were lefty, right?
Yeah, I was.
My dad was too. That's it.
But
They figure it out eventually.
the good fighters.
Yeah.
If you go after a guys like Nico, they'll never figure it out.
Yeah.
The competition could get a little tougher for him, but so what?
Yeah.
You're 240.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're a linebacker.
Yeah, Matthews calls him a tight end. Yeah.
There you go.
Just giant who has hands. It's
So
perfect.
so good on him.
So why don't we listen to Sheldon? Get the other side of it, the view from Keefe. Is it you're good to listen to that timing-wise?
absolutely.
Okay, let's have Keefe clip one, please.
Listen, I mean, do I want our captain and one of our best players fighting when we're down 2-0 in the third period? Absolutely not. But do we need some guys to step up and show some emotion and show some balls and play with some urgency and competitiveness and step out of character? Yeah, we need more of that. We need more guys that are going to show a little bit more. If you're not going to score, give us a little bit more competitively and physically and show that you're working to find your way. There's not enough of that. We're just kind of going about our business.
Do you know how bad it has to be in that room for your coach to go out to the media with microphones everywhere and say, show more balls?
Yeah. Well, he knows
Like-
the media, too. He knows who he's
like-
talking to, Toronto media.
It is insulting. It's embarrassing to every player in that room. Okay? You might as well say, my team has no balls.
Yeah. Nico Hischier has, he doesn't even get penalties. He 81 games, 10 PIMs. 80 or 71 games, 12 PIMs. Like, what Keefe likes is a guy who's, what do you say, get out of his character, outside of his character. That's the call to his team. It's like, I get that this is not who you are, but like, hey, Timo Meier, you're kind of built like Matthew Nyes. Could you maybe punch someone? Like, not fight. Just get mad, get involved, get in front of the net. I think it's a plea for these guys. Like, we need some of that.
And again, for Nico Hischier to do that when he's not that guy, it just takes the antennas and the attention in that room to like an extraordinary height. Because what it does is it guilts 19 other guys to say, I should do that before you.
Yeah.
I should do that before you. And if you had to do it and I got away with not doing it, you should have a sick pit in your stomach right now.
Yeah, you're looking down the bench and I don't know, who in this team is supposed to or could even help.
That's
I
what I
guess
was
you got
looking at.
Brendan Dillon, Stefan Nason have some PIMs, but like some of these guys, it's got to be you first before.
I'm telling you, I've been in that position where I'm on the bench, and if you're either watching a Mark Messier or a Doug Gilmour or a Dino Ciccarelli getting these scrums and he's got his stick up and he's punching guys, you're like, well, if he's doing that, well, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right? Well, like, I'm stealing money right now.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a general manager, there's a coach, there might be 14,000 fans, season ticket holders going, if he's doing that, what are you doing then?
Yeah.
What are you just taking up space on the bench?
Yeah, if we're going to have the guy who scores also be the guy who fights, we're just not going to need you at all. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
The Devils need a little bit of snot.
it did nothing for the game last night for New Jersey, Nico Hischier, but like this is for the long term here.
He's asking for it to do something in the big picture.
And I
for the
love
team.
that
Yeah.
when certain guys are willing to do that. And that is tremendous leadership. That's holding your team accountable for sure. And, there's different forms of it too. Like, what is it, 2 weeks ago, Werenski called out the Columbus Blue Jackets, right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing here?
Right.
Guess what happened right after that?
Trades.
A couple trades.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't happen with the players.
Yeah.
Management, Columbus is going, okay, well, maybe people are going to start looking at me now.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And we know Tom Fitzgerald, he's been in the trade market, right? Like Hughes trade aside, he needed to make space to even do a potential Hughes
It doesn't
deal,
matter.
so-
Like, you do whatever you have to do right now, because this is, of course, it's going to fall off of Nico now and even through the team. And if they're not the players, they're not the players. But then it goes right to management, goes right to Tom Fitzgerald going, hey,
We need someone.
you collected these guys.
We
they are a soft team, though.
we don't have long before we go to Simmer. Let's talk about some of these injuries.
Yep.
Let's just rattle through these clips.
Okay.
Get an update on all the guys. Let's start with Austin Matthews' injury update. Clip 7 from Berube, please.
He had a good day today, so I think we'll go in tomorrow, see how it feels in the morning, and he'll probably go on the ice, and we'll go from there. Hopefully he's in there tomorrow, and we get him back.
Okay, so he's playing.
Think so?
A good day today, hopefully. And then what? He turns around and goes,
it wasn't that good a day.
It's still a little bruisey. No. He's playing.
Okay, Matthews, we've got him as in. Let's hear Nylander, whether he skated today, clip 8.
No. We'll see tomorrow if he's able to get on the ice.
Okay, no good day, no hopefully. He ain't playing.
88, out. Okay, let's move on to Chris Tanev, clip 9.
Chris Tanner's going to miss some time, significant time. Groin, they're looking at things going forward here. So I'm not going to speculate on what they're going to exactly do, but he's going to be he's going to be out a while.
Yeah, he might need surgery.
I was going to say that's Berube speak, right?
Well,
Looking at
that's
some things.
But hey, they gave us his injury. I wonder if they've had an internal conversation.
I really hope they did.
That's really nice to know.
You know?
So groin and quite bad, significant time.
Yeah, I don't know what the options are, but it sounds like maybe that's an option.
I got to tell you, given so I mentioned yesterday and last night, the Leafs have 17 games in the month of January. I think it's 17 included last night. If you're out with a torn groin or whatever groin problem is, it's at least a month. You know, if it's significant groin, you're out a month.
I don't know if he'll be back this year.
So
you
if he's,
I don't know. I hope he can, but between the whiplash and this now,
I just need to not.
You know, and did he come back too early? Was there
unrelated, right?
No, I don't know. It's just you go from nothing to trying to get on a moving train.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, but that doesn't mean you don't try to get on the train when you're paid to be a train on getter.
Great point.
You know, it's like he had to try, but it definitely could be connected. Okay, we should break because we actually have Simmer already.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
All right, Simmer, hang in there, buddy. We're coming right after you after the break. More Real Kyper and Bourne on our Leaf Edition Hour. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Cristian Ceniti. Let's go to Craig Simpson now, covered the game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Simmer, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks. I don't know what the stat was that I read that the last time that the Leafs played a hockey game without the likes of Marner, Matthews, or Nylander might be 10 years ago.
It was 2016.
There you go.
It was. Yes.
Okay, perfect, my friend.
Before Matthews was even drafted.
Okay. In your experience playing, let's take the Edmonton Oilers, for instance. What it does to a room, what it does to a team when you look around the room. In your case, I don't know. Messier not in the lineup, Curry not in the lineup. I think Gretz for a little while there with you. What's the feel? What's the impact? What runs through a player's mind?
Well, for sure, it sharpens the senses of every player in the room because you're missing a big element of guys that typically drive the play the most minutes, and now all of a sudden with them being gone, I think everybody looks at it as a chance to say, okay, my responsibility is going to be a bigger one. And every player who's playing in that room at some point has been a significant contributor to some team that they played on to get there. So you have that innate sense of what it means to go, oh, man, I might play a lot tonight. I might get a lot of opportunity. I might actually get a power play chance tonight. And I think it allows guys who typically are in the background, who are good soldiers and like to, defer to the leadership group, maybe don't talk as much, to start talking a little bit more, to start taking some ownership of the game. And, I listened to you guys earlier, and Justin's right. Like, don't kid yourself that an 82-game season can have that same strength and impact with not having your top guys. But for small runs, there's no question. I think it really engaged a guy like Bobby McMahon. I think you saw it from the interview of Nick Robertson with Sean before the game. And players that maybe wouldn't step out and say something or be as, rah-rah on the bench or talkative are now, because they know you need something. You need something different to change when you're missing those top guys. So I think on a short term, the greatest example of it is just the collective effort of all four lines and all 3D pair, how everybody seemed to have a little bit more energy and seemed to take a little bit more responsibility. And quite frankly, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it really was. So I'm watching that, and I know that coaches sometimes say that when they play these games without their superstars, you can learn a lot about who you have, right? Guys get more opportunity, and you get a better sense for, okay, when we're back at full strength, maybe we can get more out of this guy or use a guy in this role. Is there anyone for you who's been standing out as they've kind of been without Nylander and Matthews a little bit that you go, maybe there's more room for this guy even once they're healthy?
Yeah, I thought, you guys mentioned Nick, and I think I talked about it at great length last night because I've heard all your trade rumors, you guys thinking he might get dealt or he's going to get dealt. And my point last night was just saying, sometimes you don't realize what you have and you don't give the opportunity to the player you have until you're forced to. Mm-hmm. And then you start to realize and watch and go, maybe I have to just let this guy go a little bit. Like Willie Nylander makes mistakes and Willie Nylander turns pucks over and doesn't get his coverage right every time, but he gets a bit of a pass, which top guys do who have been producers for 10, 11 years. Some guys don't get any, and then you could see what it does to their confidence. And I think what even Craig said after the game was Bobby McMahon looked like he knew he had to be a force out there, knew he had to take the control of the game. And, there's another guy. I talked to Kenny Danico before the game. We were talking about Jacob Quillen. And I said, I look and say, why not take this opportunity to see what you got and try to empower the kid? I talked before that Buffalo game about Nick Robertson and say, this is your opportunity to give him a chance to see what you have. And I think you're seeing a lot of it. And I thought last night, because of the circumstances, those kind of guys took some leadership of the team, took the onus on them to be a game changer, where quite frankly, I don't think they always get the sense of doing that at other times, but they also feel at other times that if I make a mistake, I'm going to be gone. I think that kind of goes out the window when you're missing your top guys. You're going to play more, and I think you just play freer.
You're listening to two-time Stanley Cup champion Craig Simpson covering the Toronto Maple Leafs for Sportsnet, Hockey Night in Canada. Simmer, the power play, no kidding aside, I do feel bad for Marc Savard. For sure. Come on, like you're sitting there watching what you've watched for 30-plus games, and then they turn around and string a couple together, and can't blame Marc Savard. You can't give Steve Sullivan all the credit here. So what has happened? What's going on?
Well, it's like anything. It's a small sample size, right? I think it was after the Pittsburgh game. I was walking out with Shane Doan, and we were kind of both amazed at saying, how does this group on the power play just seem so tentative and so stationary and so predictable? Talented guys, not just freewheeling and snapping pucks around, talented guys who are telegraphing passes. And that's really what was some of the downfall of the way they were going. Let's look at what everybody's feeling so positive now. It's literally 3 games worth, 8 power plays. You've scored 4 times. 2 out of the 4 goals are broken plays. And I think the first one kind of broke the dam, so to speak. A bad play, a bad entry, you get forced inside, puck pops out to Matthews, he slides it over to Nylander, and you score. You didn't write that out. You didn't predict how the setup has to be. They had the second unit made the one good play, a Domi pass to the bumper for Nyes. Okay, now you got a little confidence. That was an actual setup. The other Nyes goal in Detroit, fundamentals of outmanning your opponent in the tight areas. 2 guys in front of the net win a puck battle. Matthews tips it over to Nyes, you score. Again, not a super setup, not anything special and magic. And what was last night? A broken play again that Robertson keeps it in at the line, and Bobby McMahon shoots from, 40 feet right, and beats a goalie. So you feel totally different about yourself and the group and the power play. But has there really been that much of a fundamental change in the way that the makeup is? I just think those are the streaks that are sometimes hard to even understand what happens. But I think that first goal just sort of clicked and got guys from stop thinking so much, get out playing like you do 5-on-5, outwork your opponent, win the puck battle, get to the front of the net, all those things, and good things happen. And let's hope that they can continue pushing that. 3 games is a good start. If you can put 4 or 5 or 6 games together, I think now collectively you start to feel better about the whole units.
Simmer, I'll ask you a question that I feel like is maybe a little depressing for Leafs fans, but reality check here. So 16 games in the month of January. That's a little bit more than a game every other day. Their injury luck right now, it really puts them in kind of dire straits, right? Like they have to win games. If they lose a point or two, they're last in this division. Kind of when do they need to know that they're a team worth adding? Because we're going to get to that Olympic break and it's going to be nothing's going on there. And then it's the trade deadline. Like we're kind of getting there sooner than people think.
Yeah, if you're looking at that 16 games, as you say, I think if you get halfway there, the 8 games, look at Buffalo Sabres. We're in such a hole. They've won 9 in a row, and are still just almost there in a playoff spot. I think if you can, another example, as Nick was so damning of the New Jersey Devils, look at the East. It's mediocrity all the way through. So in 8 games, if you can do what you've done in the last, 3 or 4 games and come out with 7 out of 8 points, you do that in the first 8 games and get points in 80% of them. I think that given what's happening in the Atlantic, you're going to be there. You're going to be a point or two, and I think you got to be realistic that are you really a great playoff team? I don't know. Maybe you could get healthy. Maybe things can happen. But I don't remember a time at all where you're looking at not just the Atlantic Division, but the East in general and say, we don't have to be a great team to be getting in the playoffs. And then more than at any point in the last decade, if you actually get in the playoffs, you might find your way to be a good team and, win a round, win 2 rounds, get to the third. I wouldn't want to be facing the West once you get to the final, but who cares? It is such a unique year because everybody else just seems to be the same. And there's no team that's really putting their stamp on the East.
Simmer, I know this is our Leaf Hour edition, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Olympic roster. Team Canada's announcement today. Of course, you're going to be a big part of our coverage for Sportsnet in Italy. Celebrini did not end up making it a tough decision at all,
right.
But there might have been one with Bo Horvat, Anthony Cirelli, and ultimately Sam Bennett not on the team. But what stood out for you today?
Well, I think, you look at coach's choice, right? So Cirelli and Point, to me, if anybody was arguing that maybe they shouldn't be on, there's your coaches saying it's non-negotiable. Those 2 guys are my guys, and they're going to be on the team. So I think that protected them. You look at the changes from the 4 nations with utility-type players in Jarvis and Konechny. You've replaced them with, I think, 2 guys that are playing better and have maybe more experience in Suzuki and Horvat. You trade off those types of players, and I think it's an upgrade with Suzuki and Horvat who can kill penalties, be on the power play. Horvat's a 57.8 in the face-off dot. The biggest one, obviously, is Bennett. And I think the decision, guys, was saying, you're trading Bennett for Wilson. And Wilson's faster. He can kill penalties. Bennett's a good in those tough game areas. I think that was probably a very, very difficult decision to make. But I think it's one that you trade a type of player for another type of player. So it's Wilson who takes Bennett's. The other guy that I thought of might have been is, Mark Stone. Stone's such a versatile player that might have been, is he going to be fast enough? I thought at times in the 4 nations didn't look at, but his intangibles, he's on like 120-point pace right now too in Vegas, so he stays. And then you've got Celebrini as sort of, the extra guy that you didn't have at the 4 nations, and he could be a game breaker. He might find that he fits perfectly in the top line. He could play top line, he could play 4th line and be a effective guy. And heaven forbid you get an injury to, you name it, Sidney Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, whatever. You've got a guy that is a dynamic player that might be able to just say, okay, the injury happens, you're going to go in. And I think that's where the wild card is. So you know how tough it is, guys, to make those kind of decisions. But I think from the forward standpoint, I kind of understand them. And it must have been a real tough one to tell Sam Bennett that. But I think the justification was you're trading Bennett for Wilson.
The, NHL players who are at that level, and you guys can speak to this and I can't, but like there is a certain amount of ego you have to be that good. You have to know you're good. You have to believe you're good. You have to, right?
Yep.
That's a mindset. And so for Sam Bennett to win the Conn Smythe Trophy as the best player in the NHL playoffs, big game player, Stanley Cup 6 months ago, and then you call him and go, you're not one of the 14 best players.
For 2 months, you have to be the best player in the playoffs.
2 months straight. It's not an off game. Do you think there's a part of him that's going, screw you guys?
Oh, there's got to be. And I think that's what drives, as you said, great players to further greatness is anytime you're doubted, you say, screw that. I'm going to show you. Anytime you feel like you've been disparaged, you go, screw that. I'm going to come back harder and I'm going to be better. And, you know, I really... The hardest thing of being a coach is telling a guy that you got to bench him or you can't play him. Hardest thing of being a general manager for something like this. Can you imagine the discussions of great players that are not in this lineup? I think the hardest thing, obviously, is because he was part of Four Nations and a big part of it, and then couple that with the Conn Smythe. That had to be one of the hardest conversations Doug Armstrong has had, maybe even in his career.
Simmer, one more before I let you go, and just from a player's perspective, is that we saw the naming of the roster today. We've got a little over 40 days to go to this tournament starts. How much is in the back of the minds of these players now? Just don't get
don't get injured. I knew you were going to say that, Nick.
Don't. You know, and how much will it impact perhaps even the standings, you know, when it's all said and done?
You know what? I think you've played long enough and you've had injuries. My back ended my career. My last 3 years were a living hell trying to play hockey. But I think what you always find is if guys are true to what makes them the great professionals that they are, if you play trying not to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. Yep. And I think every player says you got to eliminate any thoughts of that in your mind and play the way you do. Look at how Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid play when they're playing at their best. You know, it's borderline recklessness, right? And the intensity and the energy. If you don't play that way, you might now, instead of blowing by that defenseman, that little hesitation might go knee to knee, and instead of the things that you do naturally and instinctively. So I don't think there's any question, Nick, that it's got to be on guys' minds. I think my messaging, if I were John Cooper or any coach, is though you got to do what makes you the special player you are. And when you typically play that way, you know, nothing but good things happen. If you vary from that or play half into that, I think you really do risk something bad happening. And I guess it's probably easier said than done, but it'll be intriguing to watch until we get to, what is it, February 5th is the last NHL game before they all go.
Simmer, fantastic stuff as always. So appreciate your efforts to come on our show. Wish you all the best in 2026. Happy New Year, pal.
All right. Happy New Year, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Simmer. Appreciate it.
Craig Simpson, voice of Sportsnet Hockey, NHL, and Hockey Night in Canada. He's awesome. I love listening to him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I honestly, because we know how competitive the Four Nations, guys, the competitiveness that we really saw, and we said, oh, it's political, and I'm not taking away from that. But it was all about getting named to this roster. That was the fight. Mm-hmm. You know, and to your point about Sam Bennett, did a pretty good job at the Four Nations.
Mm-hmm. You know, I remember two Sam Bennett moments. He's one of the three guys to fight in the first 9 seconds, and he ties the game up against the Americans.
2-2.
2-2, 9 minutes left or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Pretty big moments.
Well, listen,
among the biggest.
Don't disappear, because if you got some questions on Sam Bennett, we'll get to them with the general manager of Team Canada, Doug Armstrong, set to join us at the top of the hour, and then followed up with one of the best in the history of the game on that blue line. Chris Pronger knows something about Olympic hockey. Don't go away. More Real Kyper and Bourne as we go national. All right, here we go. All Olympics, all the time from here on in.
Is that it?
What do you
That's
think?
good. I'm down for that. Let's do an Olympic show.
All right, it's the Real Kyper and Bourne show. We are usually on Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, and streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Or maybe we're not. I'm not,
We're not sure, to be
where
honest.
we are, who we're reaching, but we're glad you're aboard wherever you are. And always remember there's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Nick, JB, Christian here as we dissect Team Canada. The announcement today. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in the general manager, Doug Armstrong. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. JB, your overall thoughts. A lot of the names that we anticipated are there, but there are a few that, I don't know, for some may be head scratchers.
You know, so I did a sort of a predictions article sort of thing on this maybe a month ago.
And how close were you?
Almost 100%. 100% goalies, 100% D, and I only had one wrong on forwards. I did not have Bo Horvat in. I had Sam Bennett in. That was the only one I didn't have. So I did see a lot of this coming. I think it's Canada's best 12 forwards for sure from there. I guess you can quibble at the fringes if you like, but I really like who they picked. Bo Horvat is a, fast goal scorer who can kill penalties, and he's versatile center, wing. I like a lot about his game. I am a little hung up on no Sam Bennett, and not in a way that I'm like, I'm not passionate about it being wrong because the coaches know how they use them and
Yes.
how his season has been and all that. It is a real shocker for me considering the guy, again, I mentioned the last hour, won the Conn Smythe Trophy over a 2-month playoffs just 6 months ago. So, yeah, it's a shocker.
Christian, you're in for Sammy. Your thoughts, pal?
I'm curious about the Bo Horvat one. I've been a fan of his game since what playoff was it? I think it was not the bubble playoff the year after where they had a Vancouver Canucks had a great series against St. Louis, and he absolutely took over in that series. And I think since then I've been bought in on him. So I'm really curious to see how he is. But I think for me, my main takeaway is just the 8 same defensemen from 4 nations. I'm a little caught off guard by that. Thomas Harley, I think, was someone we were talking about yesterday as wishy-washy in terms of him making it. I think Jacob Chychrun, I'm curious how close he would have been.
Yeah.
I think just a tiny bit more offense, I would have felt really good. I mean, it's impossible to complain about a Team Canada roster, but those are the quibbles I'd have.
It is very noteworthy.
The sense was that perhaps Anthony Cirelli was working his way off of this team somehow, some way. Clearly, if you're John Cooper, you're going to fight tooth and nail for your players. And, we just had Craig Simpson on moments ago talk about the non-negotiable with my players. Is that what you saw? Because there is a sense that when it comes to penalty killing, it's going to be Cirelli, it's going to be Hagel.
Yeah.
2 of the very best right now in the National Hockey League, and we're not breaking them up.
It's not without precedent for a coach to say, we're trying to take the best guys and my guys aren't the best guys. I think we've seen that in history, right? We had Yzerman and Marty St. Louis had a bit of a falling out back in the day. So I think Cooper must truly believe in his guys. And to me, Anthony Cirelli, all he does is win. Every single level he's played, he's the guy who's played in the big moments, and your coach trusts you. He knows he has a very specific utility that a lot of the other guys don't have. It makes a lot of sense to have a guy like that, a safety blanket guy. You're not as sold.
No, I'm okay. I'm all right.
Okay.
I do have a little bit of an issue on the Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
And again, earlier we had Craig Simpson on, and he had mentioned that he feels like it's a Tom Wilson for Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see his logic there.
Sure.
But I just feel whether it's Team USA, and I think Doug Armstrong spoke of this earlier today, that you don't build to beat the U.S. team. You're building to beat all the teams.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I will say this, that if I'm Team USA or any other team competing in this tournament, I'm happy I don't have to go against Sam Bennett. Okay?
Well,
I am. He is.
I don't agree with you on
He's
that.
greasy. He's dirty.
But that's not what the Olympics are.
Listen, Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely, it is.
You're going to play a team once.
It doesn't
maybe
matter.
twice.
I don't care if I'm playing.
No, I'm not afraid of getting body checked in 2 hockey games.
It's not the body checking that you're at. It's that he is sneaky, dirty, JB. Okay?
Right, okay.
He is. Tom Wilson, I'm telling you right now, everybody knows when Tom Wilson's coming. That's not the guy that you necessarily have to worry about, is the guy that you know that's coming. You got to worry about the guy that's not, you don't know that's coming.
I'm worried
about. That is Sam. All right, let's welcome him in. The guy that made all the decisions possible today. Doug Armstrong, General Manager of Team Canada. Army, how's your day going, pal?
It's good till I heard that you're saying I might get all the wrong decisions.
No,
How you doing, Kyper?
no, good, buddy. Good. Listen, I don't know if you got hit during your press conference. I didn't hear it, but listen, though you mentioned it, the tough part of the job is telling guys that they're not a part of this. Sam Bennett must have been the hardest one for you to notify or let him know that, we appreciated everything you did at the Four Nations, but right now there's just not rooms on 25. That was a tough one.
Yeah, it was very difficult. What we did, guys, is we called the players that made the team this morning at 8 a.m. local time to where they're at today. But I wanted to personally reach out to the players from the Four Nations that did not get that call this morning. And Sam was very difficult. Not surprisingly, he handled like a true gentleman and a pro, and wants to be part of the process if there is an injury. But it was very hard because he did a great job for us last year. It's just this year's team, we were looking to go a different direction with some of the things that we learned, some of the things that we wanted, and positionally we wanted a player like Horvat on the team that can bring some ability to a top face-off guy that can play. He's played wing with the top players at the Worlds, just a different type of player. And the hard part is exactly what you said, that it's leaving guys off. And I really do believe that no one played their way off this team. Mm-hmm. It's just the 25 that we decided to select.
Doug, it was part of the process, still shifting from an NHL feel of Four Nations, which included obviously that dramatic 9 seconds to start, into an international feel. I mean, was that part of the equation, not only for Sam, but many players moving forward?
Not really. I looked at that the Four Nations tournament. If you take that those 2 American games and take out the first 10 seconds, that's what I expect this tournament to look like. From start to finish. And certainly if we are to match up against the Americans, we'll start and stop right there. But you don't build a team just to play one team. The one thing I do know is if we're fortunate enough to play the Americans, it's going to be in a knockout game. And so the game changes when it's a winner take all, everyone go home. Just the style of play, the penalties go down, the intensity goes up, but more from play to play, not after the whistle. So I think the style of this is going to be like the style of the Four Nations minus the 9 to 11 seconds. And the other thing too is my understanding, and I'm 99.9% sure that if your game has more than 50% NHL players, you're going to get NHL refs. And the reality is, a referee is going to ref the rules that he knows the best, and those are NHL rules. They might be able to call a foot in the crease or a guy skating through, but a body check is a body check. They're not going to be able to say, okay, that's a body check last week, and next week, but not tonight. Their brains don't work that way. So I just think the game is going to be called like an NHL game.
So given all those tough decisions, and by the way, thank you for joining us today, because we've been talking about this for a month. I'm thrilled to get to ask you a couple of questions about this. What I'm most curious about is, so for the guys who you have as next up, as really close, guys you guys liked who didn't quite make it, do you have a guy who is, all right, he's 15th, he's next in, or is it going to be based on if there's an injury, a situational need, you'll pick based on who gets hurt?
It's the latter. What we're going to do is we have a number of players that we've asked if they would like to stay on that reserve list. And that comes with having to get tested and do other things. And yeah, but we're not going to replace an apple with an orange. The style of player that we lose likely will be dictated by the style of player that we bring in. So if you lose an offensive defenseman that's going to run your power play, you're probably going to look for someone that can help out, that has those assets. If you're going to lose a top line center, you can either move one of those players up and find a different player, or you can go out and find the best offensive centerman that's playing, that's not on the team. So I think it's more the latter. We're going to try and continue to build the team and not just the next player.
Yeah. Doug, just a quick follow-up on that. How many players are on that reserve list for Canada?
We don't have an exact number. We're not giving an exact number, but we're keeping it comfortably. We're comfortable without being obnoxious and asking players to stay on a list when they have no chance. So we're trying to balance both. But what we don't want to do is get there and to February and have guys not available and have to say to them, well, we would have taken him, but we forgot to ask. Yeah, right. So we're asking these guys to stay available if they would.
You're watching and listening to the general manager of Team Canada at the 2026 Olympics, Doug Armstrong. So just on that, Army, Dev Taves said he's not going anywhere until his baby arrives, and he was asked if he informed Team Canada, and he didn't think it was necessary. I mean, is it necessary?
It's necessary. We have a chat soon on what the due date is. I did pick it up. It was February 2nd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think out of respect to he and his family, and also out of respect to John Cooper and our group, we're gonna have to find out, because I certainly respect his wanting to be here for the birth of the child, but this tournament's going on no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the Taves play nice and have that baby nice and early.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of that one. All right, so 19-year-old tournaments are for World Junior. They're not for the Olympics. And Celebrini is a guy that I think was first introduced on your list. When was the wow factor for you that we weren't just talking about any 19-year-old teenager?
Kyper, I would say it started with his play last year, because it was just abnormal for a player to do that. But I was skeptical because he was having great success on not a great team. So if someone's going to score on any NHL team, no matter what. But what got my attention this year was he was scoring, and they were getting better, and they were getting better because of his play. They're a playoff team now. We're right on the cusp. So it wasn't that he was just a point producing player on a low rung team that someone was going to score on. He's doing this now with a team that's competitive for the playoffs. And at 19, he is circled by every team when you play him. And so that got our attention. And I would say by mid-November, he became a lock in a lot of our minds. And then when we got to our early December meeting, what we did is every manager went from a ghost roster to a real roster. We put down 14, 8, and 3. And we put them on where would you put them if you were building your lines? And he was in everybody's top 12. There was no question. So we all were starting to see the same thing. And we did a lot of in-person scouting and then reports to each other on WhatsApp. And every time he played, it was, wow, this guy is real. This guy is real. Yeah. This guy is real. And the reality is he is real.
He is real. So I guess this is an interesting way to look at it, but I wonder what your greatest fear is after having built this roster. Do you fear at all that Connor Bedard has 110 points this year and people go, how could you not? Or that Schaefer becomes, the greatest defenseman of all time and he's left off. Is there any fear after having built this roster, or just confidence because you have so many good players?
Yeah, I would say I'm just not wired to. It's like when you make a trade. When you trade someone, I don't hope they go somewhere and fail, so I look good.
Yeah.
I hope those guys have great pushes from here on out and do have that part. I'm excited about the group that we have. the fear would be that I didn't select the right players, not because these guys are playing well, is because our team doesn't win.
Right.
And the reality is, when you have the opportunity to work for Hockey Canada, there is an expectation of where you're to finish, and we want to put ourselves in that position to be competitive for that finishing spot.
I mean, it's interesting when you talk about Celebrini, you reference going back to last season, and no question for Connor Bedard that it's been a tremendous learning experience those first couple of years in the National Hockey League. But is it safe to say that you cannot make this team with 30 plus games as a sample size, and there has to be a longer stretch to be able to make this team?
Well, yes, I would agree with that. I look at someone like Marchand and Doughty that made it. They have 18 years experience, and Celebrini's got 14 months. But it's not just the most recent bias that this guy's had a good 2 or 3 weeks or a good three months. But Bedard's a hell of a player. I don't want to take anything away from him. But when I look at our roster and I look the way that our wings, I would view him as a winger on this roster, are constructed, where he would excel in a tournament like this as a scoring player, who we have in scoring positions. We felt that we're excited about the guys that we have on our team.
So is that how the process worked when you guys are talking about this construction? Is all of you putting together sort of your own 4 lines, 3 pairs, imagining game situations? Are you in the room together? What is the process of how this came together?
Yeah, there was probably 5 face-to-face meetings, and then Zoom calls. And what I found most enjoyable with this group is the number of games they went to see, and modern technology, the WhatsApp, guys would just get on there right after, tell us all about the players, how they played that night. And but when we got together, we started out doing up until our last meeting, when we put our mocks in, they were 6 lines, 5 deep pair, and 4 goalies, just to make sure that we were encompassing and seeing where the synergy was in that group. And then when we got to the last one, it was just, all right, now you have to make your decision. Give us your 25 players based on 14, 8, and 3, and you whittle yourself down. What we tried to do was use October, November to allow players. We went out to try to find some players, but in early November, we had our feeling of who was going to make this team or had a chance. And if you weren't on that list, you had to come find us. Mm-hmm. We were no longer going out searching. And as you started to do that, the window started to close on some players, and that's how you whittle that group down.
Army, just one more for me, and that's Jordan Binnington. Of course, you're also the president of hockey operations in St. Louis, and Jordan has not had a great year or start to the season. Your team's still battling, of course, but throughout the process, did you communicate with Jordan Binnington in terms of, his struggles to start the season and yet his ability to still make this team? Did you have to kind of remind him that you can separate the two, or did you just leave him alone up until maybe this morning?
Yeah, I actually just left him alone. With his age and his experience, he didn't have to be talked to about what was at stake. He was at the summer camp. He was at the 4 Nations. When I did that deep dive into the goaltending, though, the one thing that really put comfort in me is that you probably are harder on your own players when you're with the other managers, because you don't want to look like a homer and you're pushing your own guys. And whether it was the October meeting, which everybody had been or there, and then our team didn't play well and it wasn't a productive team. Every meeting we had, everyone still had Binnington on that roster all the way up until December. And I wasn't pushing that. That was them actually starting to push me. And I have that inside knowledge of what a great competitor he is. And given the opportunity, he can take this ball and run with it. But you're right. Like we played in Tampa. I felt so bad for him. Our last game before Christmas was in Tampa. He's got to play in front of John Cooper. They get 3 goals on like tips from the slot on maybe 10 shots. So it looks like he's having an awful night. those goals are tip-ins are not his fault, but the numbers don't show that. They show the save percentage. And he's had a few nights like that, which are difficult, but his job is to stop the ones he's not supposed to stop too. So I'm comfortable with Binner. I know what he can do. I think if John decides to give him that opportunity, he won't be disappointed. But ultimately, Jordan's going to have to earn that between now and then.
I remember the save against Brady Tkachuk in overtime, man, lying on the ice with the glove out. That's what stands out for me. Hey, Army, go get some rest, man. All right, you look exhausted.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cheer on Canada tonight first. But hey, guys, I always appreciate you having me on. I love listening to you, and all the best in 2026.
Same.
Thanks so
same
much.
to you.
We're rooting for you guys. Appreciate
Doug
it.
Armstrong, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Did he say he listens to our show?
Oh my goodness. So that's who's
I got to be
listening.
on my best behavior now. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. In a few minutes, hopefully we can track down Chris Pronger, too.
Yeah.
Who knows a thing or two about winning gold.
How long could we have done that interview with Doug for? I got 38 more questions.
Yeah, for sure. I loved his answer. And I so thought I was going to get the opposite response.
On what?
On Binnington. And throughout the season, of course, he's got access to him every day, right? In terms of, Jordan, don't worry, or, you're still good, and, you're still in the – because everybody was sitting there going, hey, he can't play for Team Canada now.
Yeah.
I think you were in that mix for a little while.
He's been bad, but you got to take it. You got to take him. We don't have anyone, and he wins.
I think there's a ton of Canadian fans that probably didn't have Binnington into their final three here until maybe they thought it was a foregone conclusion, but I'm trying to think, has there ever been a team in the Olympics that had to go to their third goalie and done anything, right? It doesn't happen. So even if you're not comfortable with Binnington, I can't imagine the leash there is crazy long.
I don't think he's going to be their third.
Okay, but he's the two. I think he gets the start. I think he gets the first game. Yeah. If it goes well, awesome. If it doesn't, I think it's Logan Thompson. If it goes beyond that, it's probably not good.
I think a lot is in the momentum that you're carrying to in the last 2 weeks, 10 days. If it looks like it's going to be hard if he's going in there but losers of 4 in a row. I mean, I'll go with if Logan Thompson's looking good going into the tournament, I leave it open in terms of who looks the best right
Logan
now.
Thompson the last 2 years, 720 days, far and away has been their best goalie as a country. But, Binnington's Binnington.
All right. No better guy to go to right now than Chris Pronger. 2-time gold medalist, but more importantly now, entrepreneur and international speaker on anything.
That's not more important. That's not why we have him on right now.
You want to be a winner, man. You want to be a winner, you listen to this guy. Prongs, how are you, buddy?
I'm awesome. How you guys doing?
How's the circuit today? Everybody's grabbing you.
Yeah, it's been, you know what? You guys came first, so.
You're a good man.
CBC earlier, but you guys are always top my list.
You're a
you know
good
that,
man.
Kyper.
Thanks, pal.
And by the way, I don't know if you see what's right over here.
What do you got?
That's a Hartford
Yeah,
Whalers.
it is.
Look at that.
It is.
That's a thing of beauty.
The best.
And I don't know if many people know we were teammates for a very short period of time.
We were, for sure.
The Navy.
I know. I didn't get to ride any of your coattails, unfortunately, long enough. Prongs, just in terms of, a day like today and what the players go through, and I don't think, you ever had any issues on debating on where you would be, but it's got to be a tough day for a guy like Sam Bennett today, who gave his heart and soul to a Four Nations, and to be on the outside looking in. We know there's a list, a short list of guys that you can go to in case of emergency break glass. We assume Sam's in there, but what kind of a day would have Sam had, today?
Yeah, I think pretty tough. You look at his last 3 years, 3 Stanley Cup finals, 2 Stanley Cups, a Four Nations championship, a new contract, on and on and on. And the run he's been on in that Florida Panthers team, and the meteoric rise of his career once he got to Florida. is pretty neat to see. A lot of people had written him off in his career and kind of resurrected himself there in Florida. But I think tough, as you said, he gave a lot of himself. He gives a lot of himself when he plays the game with how hard he plays and competes, plays with physical edge, plays tough. But he scores big goals and he shows up. I mean, look at the Four Nations gold medal game. What a great pass to Marner and then back for that goal. It pretty cool to see. And then just the fight with Brady Tkachuk and on and on and on. I mean, we could just speak of his character and the way he plays the game. He's the type of player that the opposition and the opposing fan base love to hate, but when he's on your team, he's one of those guys that you love playing with.
Would you have found a spot for him in this 25? Bo Horvat's been added on. Cirelli's back again. Would Chris Pronger have taken Sam Bennett?
I think you look at his ability to find a way to win and elevate. It's not only find a way to win, but elevate your play in those big games, those big moments, those championship moments, is when he plays his best. Game sevens, are they missing out? Probably, but you look at their roster, for the most part, it's identical on the blue line. Up front, 4 different faces. And I think we don't know the conversations that were had with respect to the types of players they were looking to add. I think the continuity and the chemistry and the familiarity of this group from the Four Nations was important. And the fact that they won a championship and they wanted to bring the bulk of them back. But I mean, he's going to be a big loss just from a competitive standpoint and the way that he plays the game and, plays with his heart on his sleeve and leaves it all out there each and every game. I think you don't know the toll that the last 3 years have taken on him. So I think that might be the biggest question mark. And, he's gotten off to a slow start, but, they obviously went to 3 finals in a row and won 2 of them. So there was a lot of partying going on.
Yeah. Prongs, you mentioned the decor, like no changes to the decor. And I want to get your thoughts on the idea of prioritizing defending versus just taking the most skilled guys you can. You look at a Canadian D-man in the NHL. Bouchard is 2nd in points. Chychrun is 3rd in points. Schaefer is 7th in points. You got guys like, you're taking Parayko, who's 42nd with 11th, and Devon Toews has 12 points. And so what are your thoughts here? How have we made the right decisions as a country to keep some guys on it who prioritize the defending side versus just the most skilled guys?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when you look at the back end, the decor, I think it boils down to trust. Mm-hmm. Are they ability to be trusted in the defensive zone? Are they able to protect the 1-goal lead? Are they able to shut it down? Are they able to do the things that are necessary to win games at the highest level on the biggest stage? A lot of these players have won Stanley Cups. They've won Four Nations. They've done it all. And that's not to say the guys that haven't been passed over have not accomplished much. I think, you look at a Matthew Schaefer and what he's been able to do early in his career as an 18-year-old is pretty special. But that's a lot of pressure on an 18-year-old going into an Olympics. This is going to just with the roster selection and nomination process, you can see the pressure and the temperature already escalating. And come Olympics, if things don't get off to a good start, we'll see. And even if they do get off to a good start, it's going to be, wait till they play Sweden, wait till they play Finland, wait till they play the U.S., There's always going to be a wait until they get to that gold medal game, and it's for everything. But I think as you look at the familiarity of the decor, what they were able to prove last year in the Four Nations with all the injuries that they accumulated, whether from a injury perspective or health with respect to being sick and whatnot, a lot of guys were called into service. Thomas Harley not having the best of years, but I think they're what they saw from him last year in the Four Nations and then in the playoffs and on and on and on, I'm sure played a part in that, in how he plays the game. And frankly, they're probably looking at the players up front going, okay, these guys need to put the puck in the net. we don't. Yes, we need to get offense from our back end, and there are going to be the Shea Theodores, the Cale Makars, the Josh Morrisseys of the world, and then we need an offensive guy with a defensive guy, and we need that yin and the yang. And we'll see if it's the right decision. I understand the thought process, but to your point, Jacob Chikrin, he's having a fantastic year. Evan Bouchard, the last couple months has been lights out, has been much improved, and as has the fortune of the Oilers in tow. So, he certainly deserved, and I'm sure got a really hard look based on his performance in the playoffs and then his play as of late.
You're watching and listening to two-time gold medalist Chris Pronger joining us on Real Kyper and Bourne. So you just mentioned the Shea Theodores of the world and Morrissey. I'm just looking at this defensive core here, Prongs, and it just seems to me like, okay, there's Cale Makar, and he is arguably he's the best defenseman in the world. And then after that, I'm not sure if any one of them ever will come close to winning a Norris Trophy, in their careers. And it seemed when I remember you on a blue line, it was a more depth in terms of impactful, great defensemen, whether it was, I don't know, early Ray Bourque, Scott Niedermayer, Al McGinnis. I mean, is there going to be a ton of pressure on Cale Makar here to really lead this drive?
Yeah. And I think when you look at, to your point, you look at 2010, you had Scott Niedermayer, Shea Weber, Duncan Keith, Drew Doughty, Chris Pronger with Dan Boyle and Brent Seabrook.
Wow.
Is everyone win a Norris Trophy there? It felt like it. At least 5 Norris players.
And then 2014, you had Doughty, Pietrangelo, I'm drawing a blank on some of the other ones. Duncan Keith again, like they had again a very similar type of roster. You go back to 98, we had Scott Stevens, Ray Bourque, myself, Al, Rob Blake.
Oh my gosh.
Eric Desjardins, Adam Foote, so you had, you might look at, okay, well, you had Adam Foote in 98, 02, and 06. He would be looked at as a Devon Taves or a Colton Preco or somebody of that nature to pair with an offensive guy.
Yeah.
But
to
your point,
these guys are all
there's
five.
not a lot of guys that are up for the Norris.
Everybody behind Cale Makar is a 5, 6, or a 7 on your teams.
Yeah. If that.
But there's still, listen, I just want to put it in perspective, a little bit, just in terms of Cale. It comes back to Cale and the magic he's going to have to create next month.
Well, I think a lot of pressure is going to be on that. I think they're looking at Theodore running one of the power plays. They'll look at Makar to run a power play. They'll have Josh Morrissey maybe with Theodore, or they'll mix and match. I really think the emphasis was on stopping the other team and playing defense and being very diligent in the defensive zone. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're looking for the high octane from the back end, because with that comes risk. High risk, high reward. And I don't think they want to subject their goaltenders to that. And frankly, if we look at, that's the Achilles heel when you look at the roster, is I think going to be their goaltending. Are they going to be able to hold up? Can Binnington find himself again? Because he hasn't yet. If he falters, can Darcy Kemper or Logan Thompson take the net and run with it like we've seen in 2010 when Roberto Luongo came in for Marty Brodeur, and 2002 when Marty Brodeur came in for Cujo, and on and on. Like there needs to be a 1A, 1B situation. And until they prove that they can do it, you just never know.
How do you feel about some of the additions? Actually, you know what? I want to get your thought on this. How do you feel about John Cooper making sure he has his guys there? Like Anthony Cirelli is very important to him. Brandon Hagel, Point maybe not having the year you expect, but it seems like he knows. You talked about trust on the back end. That's important up front too, isn't it?
Well, I heard Doug Armstrong talking, and I think it was John Cooper as well, talking about their partnership and selecting this roster.
Yeah.
in making sure that he was comfortable and could trust players in their specific or certain roles. And I think when you look at Anthony Cirelli, I mean, you're looking at him going, how is he on this team based on the players that are not?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Bennett has won, but he's won 2 cups with them. He understands. He's won a 4 Nations with them. You look at the role he's going to put him in. He's going to be out there probably trying to protect a 1-goal lead late in the game, taking faceoffs, blocking shots, killing penalties. He's not going to be looked at to score goals, certainly. And you could argue, if you watch the 4 Nations diligently, we probably looked out of place a few times, just with the pace of those games at certain points. But he's a gamer, and certainly John Cooper has absolute faith and trust in him.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at the roster, Brandon Hagel's another one that he's had he's got intimate knowledge of in the type of player, coachability, style of play, use case, and how he can position him and put him in a role that'll allow the team to succeed and allow Brandon Hagel to fit in on a line and find chemistry, etc. So I think it's somewhat of a partnership with Doug Armstrong and John Cooper in how they selected this roster. And then obviously the management team and guiding what they see and who they think is going to be a good fit.
Yep,
I'm sure they were very spirited conversations.
Yeah, this Anthony Cirelli is a winter jacket. It's like you don't want to have to bring it with you, but if you go out and you don't have it, and you find yourself without it, you're like, God, this is miserable.
I brought the wrong coat.
Yeah, there's situations where you need your winter jacket.
So, Prongs, I want to take you back to that Hartford Whaler jersey again, okay? So, a lot of talk about who's not on the team, and, Matthew Schaefer has come in as a prospect, no different than yourself. We knew how great you were going to be one day, but can you take me back to your early days in Hartford, and can you tell me what an 18 or 19-year-old Chris Pronger would have done in the Olympics?
It would not have been good, I can tell you that.
No?
Knowing what, I mean, it was very inconsistent. I mean, Matthew Schaefer is way more consistent and way more ready to play at this level night in, night out, just with his skating ability. Obviously the game's much different than 1993. A lot has evolved and changed over the years, but I think there would be some games where I could play to that level, and then other games where I just was not. And I was very inconsistent. I was on that roller coaster, and my emotions would follow that roller coaster, and the lowest of lows, the highest of highs. I couldn't find how to keep it very slow rolling, if you will, the ups and the downs. And I would beat myself up a lot on the bad games, and you're high on life and riding the surfing the high rollers when you're feeling good. And I think you look at Matthew Schaefer. I mean, just what a breath of fresh air for the New York Islanders and that organization to be able to have a player like that on their roster in the back end. And he's completely changed the dynamic of their team. And you can see how that could really lure you into taking him. But I really worry about him and his development, throwing too much at him too soon. As we just talked about, there is going to be a massive amount of pressure on this team. It's enormous. I liken this one to 1998 when we had Gretzky and the NHL players were first going over to Nagano. And we were plus 1,000 going to win the gold medal. I mean, it was ridiculous, the odds of us winning the gold medal. And, from what I remember, just we played not to lose. We played scared to a certain extent. And I felt like in how we played, we didn't play to win. We didn't throw caution to the wind. We didn't just lay it all out there. We were very robotic in a sense. And, I think the lack of picking Gretzky for the shootout, and I brought it up to somebody yesterday, they were asking me about the shootout. And, not only did we not take Gretzky, but you also got to remember Joe Sakic was hurt for that game. He would have been number one in that shootout. He was unreal on breakaways.
Yeah. Low block.
So he would have been picked, and I guarantee you he would have scored. And just I think going into that shootout, I think we were caught a little off guard in selecting the players. I mean, why are we taking Ray Bourque because he won a target contest in an All-Star game? That's like saying you're going to pick me because I scored a penalty shot goal in a Stanley Cup final game. There's 20 other players you're going to take over me.
Listen, I'm getting screamed to go to break, man. We could go an hour with you on this, but so appreciate your insight, especially on a big day like today. Love to have you on again real soon. Okay, pal?
You bet.
All right.
Thanks,
guys.
Ron.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Hey, Peterborough Pete's over here too.
Hey, Dick Todd, baby. Dick Todd.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks so much.
That is Hockey Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever play the game on the blue line, Chris Pronger.
Pronger calls 26 Canadian Olympic
Okay.
teams, 98 Nagano.
Listen, this is
Not
Christian's second day, and he's already screaming at me to go to break.
We gotta go.
All right, more Real Kyper and Bourne after these words. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Christian, you ready?
Let's go. Yeah, it's been an awesome Olympic hour. Let's keep it Olympic themed with Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and see why it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Couple Olympic things here. We talked about this yesterday. Sabres at Stars. Sabres are going for 10 in a row.
Jeez.
I'm going to take the flip side, though. I'm looking at the Stars. I'm looking at Jason Robertson. Rumblings that he's still on the outside of that U.S. roster. We don't get that officially until Friday. Give me Jason Robertson anytime goal in a pre-revenge game on the as far as U.S. is concerned. Plus 130 there. Other game I'm looking at, Doug Armstrong, St. Louis Blues. They're in pretty tough tonight. Colorado Avalanche. Jordan Binnington versus Mackenzie Blackwood. A guy not involved with Team Canada, obviously. Just a reminder on the stats there. Binnington, 7 wins, 9. He's got, let's do 15 losses, 870 save percentage right now. Mackenzie Blackwood, 12-1-1, 923.
He's 12-1-1?
He's 12-1-1. It's the Colorado Avalanche. It says more about them, but give me Jordan Binnington. We need Jordan Binnington to look like Four Nations Binnington. Give me the St. Louis Blues to very much upset the Colorado Avalanche. Plus 275 St. Louis Blues.
I like an aggressive bet. What did you say? Blackwood had some quotes or something? Or was that you before the show talking about Blackwood?
Yeah.
They hadn't even called him?
He hasn't been contacted.
That's
Doug said the reserve list, we don't know how far it goes, but got to think maybe a reserve if that's the situation that arises.
I don't know. I mean, his name was in the mix, but he's no different than probably 150 guys out there. You can't call them all.
No, but it does feel like it was, are you doing Kemper or Blackwood? Kemper or Wedgwood? Kemper or...
But to his point, if it was that close and he didn't get a call, maybe it's Kemper and someone else.
Yeah, I actually do think that there are names that the public thinks were right in it to the end that weren't so right in it. You know,
Bedard was never really in it.
I'm not sure how Scheifele, how in it he was, even with all his points. I just, you know, and that's just going off the way they've treated him. You know, it doesn't seem like a guy who's ever been.
My guy on that front would be Wyatt Johnston. I feel like he at least deserved to be in a conversation. Maybe he wasn't.
It's so funny.
There,
he couldn't even, like, every conversation people had, this guy has unbelievable numbers, and everyone's like, yeah, we're not doing that. You know, like, you're right.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
Is that it? You got to wrap it up.
That is Game Time.
There you go.
Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Beautiful.
If you're just happen to join us, it's been a really good show here. Like, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but, you know, I mean, Sam,
The
you
guests
missed
have
a
been.
doozy.
Yeah.
You know,
Army was really good. I was
Prongs
floored by
was really
Prong's willingness to be like, I can't believe we didn't pick Gretzky in the shootout. If we had Sakic, he'd have scored and we'd have won. Like, he was pretty direct about that.
I think there's enough time that's passed that you can
You're allowed to say.
You could really say what you feel now.
I guess we're coming up on 30 years.
You know what my favorite part was? To crawl into his head a little bit, to think about a Matthew Schaefer at the Olympics at age 18 and where he would have been at 19, 20. And like, there's still the development thing going on with Schaefer, and you'd hate to see the kid go there, maybe cough one up and like be scarred for life over it.
You know, my minimal experience of this with really young prodigy type players is watching the Toronto Maple Leafs for the last decade and seeing great players, and Connor Bedard maybe to some extent, where you get handed a lot right away and go, it's your team now. You're the man. And it's like, God, there's still so many steps to go, and maybe Schaefer could use a little bit more sanding of the edges to refine the game.
The other thing that really stood out is how good his era was with defensemen.
You know what's interesting as he was talking, though, that I was thinking? All the best D in the league were at that point Canadian. The league was so much more heavily Canadian. You look around, who are the best D in the league? The Americans have Hughes and Werenski. And, well, Fox didn't even make their team. He won a Norris Trophy 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and you just look around the league.
He's really slipped.
And you go to the Swedes, and, okay, well, Victor Hedman's been there, and he's one of their elite guys. And you just kind of go around. It's not just Canadian D anymore. So
Slavin was really good at the Four Nations.
He's really good every time he's on the ice. So, yeah, that maybe we left off some of our better offensive Canadian D-men, but I think I do think the point about our goaltending as a country is our weak spot. So maybe we need more guys who don't give up high danger opportunities, don't take risks, aren't allowing odd man rushes against.
Oh, no. Prong's talked about this. They're going there to win 2-1 or 3-2 in overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Celebrini, Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, Marner. We're
one of the major reasons why they didn't have to roll the dice with a guy like Connor Bedard is because they're not going there to open it up. They want guys that can play a 2-1 game.
Is it going to be Coop Babcock out there? We're going to beat Latvia 2-1. That's the goal?
Yeah.
Sick. That's always a thrill to watch.
It is.
Well, it's just you leave it up to chance. Those close games, you leave it up to chance. You might as well just go.
How about the job Christian's done the last 2 days?
Hey, thanks, pal.
Guys,
really enjoyed
I
it.
told you, we got to calm it down. I'm back on the Leaf Stock crew with Sammy on Saturday.
No, listen.
Sammy's not listening.
Sammy is
right.
in Owen Sound right now with his family, enjoying like Owen Sound
Labatt
stuff.
Blue.
You know, but in the event that he gets run over by a snowmobile or something, like what's your availability the rest of the year?
You know, as long as the Leafs aren't on during a real Kyper Bourne, which I don't think is usually the case, then I'm probably around.
All right.
We got to, JB and I, we got to keep our options open.
You're just flirting right now. Just seeing what's out there,
Yeah. So are you guys, like, Happy New Year, guys? Are you like, I know you don't drink anymore, but
no,
that
and I
can't
have 2
stop you
kids.
from
I don't
being a goofball.
No, it's Wednesday today, pal. Happy Wednesday. You going out?
Buddy, 9:30, man. I can barely keep my eyes open.
You're still young and doing.
What do you got going, Christian?
We got a house party going on with friends.
There you go.
There'll be a lot of hockey on.
Party.
Yeah, a lot of hockey on. It'll be on in the background, so it'll be a good time.
The real Kyper Bourne show will take New Year's Day off, and then we're back on Off the Rails Friday with.
We'll also be Thursday night. We're Thursday night.
That's right.
Leafs
we're
game.
doing Leafs and Winnipeg on Sportsnet Ontario. Yeah. So we are working.
Yes.
We're just not. Our show will
all
not
the Leafs
be on.
talk will be moved to pre-show.
Yeah, and then back here, and Sammy, I think
he's right back.
Why is he coming back for one day? I need to tell. What's the point of that? Take the whole week. Have the weekend.
There's really never a good point, when it comes to Sammy.
Nah, fair enough. All right. Well, I'm going to be watching the Winnipeg Jets so I can prepare for our Leafs-Jets game tomorrow.
Are they done? Are they cooked?
No.
Grill marks?
They're not cooked.
No?
No. They are. The grill's getting hot. They need the grill to get turned down here real soon.
It is. Well, listen, if we wanted to end 2025 with a bang, we did it on a day that should lead Canadian fans right into Italy.
And don't forget to wish people Happy New Year, not the S. Leave the S off.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Unless you're wishing just for they have a good New Year's Eve, but you want the whole year to be happy.
Stay safe, everybody. We sure appreciate the support over the year 2025. Looking forward to it moving forward.